Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I wanted to talk about CertainlyT, who, if you don't know, is a champion designer at Riot Games. He has created more than a few champions for the game. He's also been in charge of several reworks, and chances are you probably hate one of the champions he's designed or reworked. CertainlyT tends to have very interesting designs that push some of the design space that League of Legends plays in, but at the same time, his champions can be very frustrating and have been some of the most frustrating designs in the game. Now, if you are familiar with CertainlyT, as you may or may not be, you probably already know which ones I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, CertainlyT is the man behind Darius, Thresh, Zyra, Yasuo, Kalista, and Zoe. He was also in charge of the Caitlyn rework, the Mordekaiser rework, and the Warwick rework, among possibly one or two others that I have forgotten. At any rate, tonight I wanted to talk about CertainlyT's designs, and how, despite their unpleasantness to play against, how they're not terrible designs. So first and foremost, I did want to say as well, if you're one of those people who have been saying that CertainlyT should be fired, I need you to stop watching the video, and you should probably stop saying that as well. We're talking about people's livelihoods here, and the man is a video game designer. If you're mad enough about a video game that you think someone should be let go from their job, I think you really need to look at yourself in the mirror and reconsider your opinions. At any rate, let's go ahead and talk more about what's going on here. So first of all, I think that CertainlyT has some really interesting designs. Irregardless of balance, you have to admit that he's got a lot of really interesting ideas that I don't think other designers have thought of. Now, Ornn and a few other champions this year, like Kayn, have gotten close to that sort of territory where it's been, okay, this is a really weird ability for a champion to have or for something to do. But CertainlyT's designs have been so much more pushed in that direction, if you really think about it. So you have someone like Yasuo, for example, who just has dashes all over the place and is dependent on knockups. You have Kalista, who moves after every single auto attack. Zoe, who can duplicate summoner spells and use them against their owners. Those are all really interesting, unique ideas that wouldn't otherwise exist if you didn't have someone like CertainlyT doing wacky, crazy designs. And the advantage that these designs have is that they push the design space of League of Legends even further. If CertainlyT hadn't been around at Riot and hadn't been working on champions, I doubt you would have had someone like Ornn design, because Ornn already breaks several fundamental aspects of League of Legends. And I think that if it weren't for CertainlyT pushing the boundaries of what is and isn't possible in League, Ornn may have not been designed at least as he is. So for starters, there is that. The other thing that CertainlyT has done that I think is really interesting is that he's thought of champions in different ways from other people and trying to get them in different roles. The Mordekaiser rework, while fundamentally flawed, I think didn't necessarily start from a design space of, I don't like Mordekaiser, so let's gut him. If you remember, actually, Mordekaiser was insanely overpowered at first when he was released. So the issue there wasn't that Mordekaiser was too weak. The issue was that CertainlyT was trying to solve the design problem of how do you make Mordekaiser more balanced. The biggest issue with the champion was that in a solo lane, he is incredibly oppressive. He just doesn't take any damage from anything you do to him because he absorbs it all with his shield, and can perma-push the wave, doesn't have resource costs, and is just very difficult in a solo lane. Essentially, the only counterplay to Mordekaiser is your jungler. That's the only thing you can do about that champion in lane. So by moving him into the bottom lane, as weird as that was, it did solve the issue by giving Mordekaiser slightly harder competition to play against. He's now against possibly 1 to 2 ranged champions who can poke away at his shield for free. And he also has more of a reason to be down there, given that he can enslave the Dragon Ghost. And that solves some of his design problems, I will completely admit. So that's sort of another thing that's been interesting, and that's kind of what got the player base at least thinking about putting a non-marksman champion in the bottom lane, was the Mordekaiser rework. I think that directly led to the Ziggs bot meta that happened earlier this year, was people realizing, well, if Mordekaiser can get played bottom lane, why don't we try other things? So his designs do have merit. Now, I will be completely honest, some of his designs have issues, I will say. It's really frustrating to deal with Yasuo when he has no resource costs and he can dash around all over the place. It's frustrating to play against Zoe when she can do all of your health bar with one ability. It can be even frustrating to play against someone like Darius, where he just pentadunks your entire team, though obviously he's a little bit more fixed than he was following his rework. But the point I'm getting at is that at the end of the day, I don't think that CertainlyT is a bad designer. I just think he is a visionary, is what I would say. He tries to do things that no one else has done in the game, and he comes up with very novel solutions for problems that possibly other designers don't think of. So yeah, while his designs have some problems, and I can talk more about those problems at a later date, I think that at the end of the day, he has some interesting ideas, and I don't think that they're as big of a deal, and I certainly don't think people should be calling for his job. I think he does his job very well, and even if his designs have issues, that ultimately they bring a lot to the table. But that's just my opinion. Go ahead and let me know what you guys are thinking of CertainlyT and his designs. I know he's been a hot topic of late on the board, so I would love to hear what you guys are thinking of his champions and or his designing style. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. And if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. If you're looking for more Grab the Lantern content, you can check out my blog, grabthelantern.tumblr.com. And last but not least, I did want to mention there will be no podcast uploaded this next Monday, as it is Christmas, and I will be celebrating with my family. You can look for regular content to resume on Friday on YouTube or on Wednesday for my blog. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will talk to you all later.